or you get paralyzed because somebody done hit you with the back of the head, or something happened and you might fall down and bust your head. Okay, or you might go down the stairs and you might break your neck. Hey, the Most High sanctioned that to happen to you. Okay, go on, brother. And that's the hardcore reality. Just bringing out the scripts.
I wound and I heal.
Yeah, I wound and I heal. Go on.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
So really the Most High is omnipotent. He's all over. He's through the elements. Okay, he's within our bodies. He's everywhere, man. He even tells you that the eyes of the Lord are 10 times brighter than the sun. So you got angels that look before men to see what man's doing and to then judge those men. You see, so that's why you got to get right with the Lord, man. That's why it tells you about the fear of the Lord. Because you might do something evil and you might think, oh, I got away with it. It's cool. Now the Lord is going to require that evil that you've done. Now that can be covered if you come back to the truth and you come under the covering of Yahweh Shah. Then your sins are nailed to the cross. But if you continue to do your evil and you continue to be a nigger, or should I say a niggard, and carry on with your niggardom, hey, the Lord is going to destroy you, man, and judge you right at the deeds that you've done. Okay? And that's why we do what we do, man, because we want to be forgiven. We want those tender mercies that the Lord has to be upon us because of the ills that we've done. You see that? So, yeah, you give me Psalm 68 now. 68 and 20, I believe it is. Where it tells you how the Lord belongs to issues from death.
So Psalm 68 verse 20. He that is our God is the God of salvation.
Right, he is our God, is the God of salvation. So who are the R talking about? Is everybody included in that? Is every nation of people included in that? Hell no. The Most High is the God of Israel. How do I know that? Because I read this Bible back to back front. Okay, back to front. You can even get that in Joel the 2nd chapter. Somebody give me Joel the 2nd chapter. So read that verse again, our God. Who's our God?
He that is our God.
So it says, he that is our God, go on.
Is the God of salvation.
It's the God of salvation. Get me Joel the 2nd chapter, Baba Kusha. 2 and I believe it's 28. I believe it is Joel 2 and 28. Because you know, a simpleton will read that and think he's the God of everybody, or he's our God, like it's everybody's God. No, he's the God of Israel. We're gonna read that out the scriptures, man. Okay, because we gotta destroy this stronghold and this idea that really the Most High created everybody and he's gonna come and save most of everybody of all people that believe. But that could be further from the truth, so we're gonna get that, man. We're gonna blow that right out of the way. Joel 2 and 28.
Joel 2 and 27, and it says, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
So it's telling you right there, the Lord is showing you. Read that verse again.
And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
Right, so you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. So you gotta again go precept after precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, and there a little, and then you find the combination line. Okay, so the Lord is a God of Israel, meaning he's the God of the so-called blacks, so that you understand what I'm saying here. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. He ain't the God of everybody. Yeah, he made everybody, but he chose one people. Okay, so now we're going to take what? Finish that.
And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel,
okay,
and that I am Yahweh your power and none else.
Right, and you said it right there. I am the power of Israel and none else. So he's not the power of every nation under the sun. That's why all of these other nations through the Spirit, they formulate their own belief systems. They formulate their own gods. Why? Because the other nations are not linked spiritually, connected with the Most High. All right, they might have certain things that are good. Like, you know, like you got certain, like for example, in India, right, you got people that will cook a large plate of food, you know, to feed their entire people. So that's a good deed. They got good deed qualities, but that don't mean that they're the people of God. The people of God are on the side. Okay? That's who the people of God are, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Okay, that suffered the infliction of the so-called white. Those are the people of God.
saying, I've got two precepts, Psalm 68 and 20. He that is our God, the God of salvation.
So he's the God of also salvation. Because when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's going to send it. So like here, when the Most High sends his son Yahweh Shai, he's going to bring about the salvation. The ones of our people that believe, okay? But the ones of our people that don't believe, they're going to be destroyed along with these other peoples out here, okay? When the going gets tough, going bro.
And unto the goodness of the Lord, and unto the Most High, the Lord, belong the issues from death.
And also the Lord belongeth the issues from death. So the Lord controls how you gonna die, man. So if you get run over by a car, the Lord sanctioned that way specifically that you would die in that way. Okay, if a hurricane blow your house out, right, and you got caught up in the midst of that, and you died in the midst of that, hey, that was the judgment that had to be dealt. Okay, that was the judgment right there. Go on, bro.
Jonah chapter 1 verse 3. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh.
Which I believe Tarshish is modern day Spain. I believe. Go on.
And went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish in the presence of Yahweh. But Yahweh sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship
was showing you right again right there. See, the brothers on deck with these precepts, man. That's a good precept, brother. The Lord formulated a major wind. Okay? So like I was saying earlier before, the Most High controls all of the elements of the earth. And he can formulate within the earth an overpowering energy or some sort of natural disaster to kill people, man. So we run that again. Read that verse again. I'm gonna hit the whole verse.
But Yahweh sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken.
Right. So the Lord even sent, those sort of things to destroy the ships in the seas at that time. Go on.
Then the mariners were afraid and cried every man unto his God. Allah. Krishna. They got their idols, the wooden idols.
Krishna.
Their rosary beads. You know what I'm saying? Going to their priests and shit. Sacrificing and shit. Sacrificing swine, vultures and shit. All kinds of abominations. So it said, and the mariners were afraid and cried every man unto his God, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea. Like Goliath, finished. Goliath started swearing by his gods. Dagon and shit.
Yeah.
Like the fish guard was gonna come in the midst. Come on, Let's get real.
So it said, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God.
Whoa, so it says arise, call upon thy God. I like this verse right here. We're going to see what it's going to say. Read this.
If so be that God will think upon us that we perish not.
Right, to see if that God will think upon us, that will think upon us that we perish not. Because all of them other nations, they believe in those different gods. Like that was the true God, and that went into what I was going on before in the midst. Amongst all of these other nations, right? The reason why they don't acknowledge the supreme power and they formulate these different, entities to believe in is because they don't resonate with the supreme power. That's why the Indians and the people from Punjabi, they worship Hinduism, Krishna, this, Krishna, that. Some old Max, you got a statue, a female statue, that's got like 8 hands and shit. You know what I'm saying? and they got the elephant nose and all of that, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you got those groups over there in Asia. They got a statue of a so-called, you know, really was a so-called black man, right? When you go into the history, this big fat blimp, and he just sits in his temple. And what they do is they get these incense and they blow it before this particular statue, Buddha. Okay, but the reason why they do that because those are not the people of God. Those are just heathens that were made to be our servants, our slaves. Okay, but when these other nations did that, their gods didn't even help them. Why? Because their gods never existed. So that even goes even for our people, man, that want to indulge in these bullshit ass philosophies that don't have no meaning and has no power for it. No substantiability to it. Hey, when the Lord comes down with the judgment, man, those gods ain't gonna save you. You could be in Islam, you can be in Buddha, you can be in all of these different philosophies. Those philosophies are gonna lead you right down where the dirt is at, man. Okay, even that Rastafari garbage. It's gonna lead you to the same place where Selassie got founded, man, under a toilet. Okay, underneath the earth. Go on, brother.
So they say, if so be that God will think upon us that we perish not. And they said everyone to his fellow, come and let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
Right.
That guy, he throws his freedom pass.
Oh yeah, he casting a lot, right. Go on.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. And they said unto him, tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil is upon us.
Right.
What is that occupation? And whence comest thou?
Yeah, because a lot fell on Jonah because of the spirit. Jonah was the man of the supreme willpower. Okay, that's why the lot fell on Jonah. Okay, go on.
What is that a country, and of what people art thou? And he said unto them, I am an Hebrew, and I fear Yahweh, the God of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land. Then were the men exceedingly afraid, and said unto him, why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yahweh, because he had told them. Then said they unto him, what shall we do unto thee, that the sea may be calm unto us? For the sea wrought and was tempestuous. And he said unto them, take me up and cast me forth into the sea.
You know why he said that? You know why he said that? Because basically what happened was the thing with Jonah was trying to escape, you know, being a prophet. All right, I believe down in Nineveh, correct me if I'm wrong, brother. Right? So Jonah knew that he had to go back there. So when he went down into the depths of the sea, that's when that big fish came and got his behind. Okay, and he was in there for 3 days. And that big fish took him all the way over to Nineveh to prophesy. Okay, so Jonah knew that. Go on, brother.
And he said unto them, take me up and cast me forth into the sea. So shall the sea be calm unto you. For I know that for my sake this great tempest is upon you.
Right.
Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not. They rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not. But the sea roared and was tempestuous against them.
It was just a rough environment, man. It was a bumpy, rough environment amongst the ocean, man.
Probably a hurricane.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Probably Hurricane Irma.
No,
in the reincarnation.
Right. Yeah, man. But you know, hey, it tells you that in Ecclesiastes, you know, the cycles of life, man. Everything recycles.
Let me get that.
Even hurricanes recycle. But the reason why hurricanes come is because it's got something to do with the tectonic plates. It's when the plates shake. Like when the tectonic plates, you know, shake up on the earth, that's when you have these tornadoes and stuff like that.
This is on Ecclesiastes 1.
You're going.
This is Ecclesiastes 1 verse 6. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually.
Right.
And the wind returneth again according to his service.
Right, so that's showing you right there, even the wind recycles itself. So Everything is reincarnated. Everything is regenerated. What does the word reincarnate means? It means back in the flesh. The word means back. The carnation from the word carne means flesh. Even regeneration. Okay, the word generation means, or regeneration means the same thing. Okay? Go on, bro.
Back in Jonah 1, verse 14.
And I don't cut you, brother. And that's why it says, ye that serve me in the regeneration. In other words, the reincarnation. That's what I'm going by what the scriptures is saying. Okay? Go on, brother. In the New Testament.
Wherefore they cried unto Yahweh and said, we beseech thee, O Yahweh,
Right.
we beseech thee, let us not perish for this man's life,
Right.
and lay not upon us innocent blood. For thou, O Yahweh, hast done as it pleased thee.
Right, so that's Jonah praying to the Most High, right?
Notice the heathens, they pray to Yahweh.
Okay, yeah,
They
yeah.
say,
So
let not this man's blood
be upon us. Right, right. Yeah, so
let us not perish for his life.
right, because the heathens, you know, because of what Jonah told them, the heathens didn't want to die because of Jonah, man. And that's why Jonah told them, look, cast me into the bottom of the sea. Because Jonah had to go back to Nineveh and prophesy against him. And Jonah knew that. Go on.
That's it. So they took up Jonah.
And I don't cut you, brother, because you know, Jonah was like, man, I don't want to do this no more, man. And Moses was like, no, you ain't going nowhere. You better get your behind back up over here. You know, he came with that hurricane, and that was the signification. Look, you better bring it behind all the way back to Nineveh. Okay, I'm gonna send the big fish, and I'm gonna send you right back over there, man. And while he was in there, okay, he said he was in the belly of hell. See, but that's what happens when he rejects the command of the Most High. He can mess you up so bad to the point where you acknowledge it, you get back on your terms with him, man. And you do as commanded. Go on, brother.
So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea. And the sea ceased from her raging.
Yep.
Then the men feared Yahweh exceedingly and offered a sacrifice unto Yahweh and made vows.
So the heathens decided to take the acknowledgement and realize that the real power or the real God, okay, which they didn't acknowledge or know at the time, they took heed to him. And they did as commanded of Jonah. Jonah said, look, just cast me into the sea. And when that happened, the Most High stopped that whole wave, man, that hurricane. All right? But the point of the matter is the Lord creates all of these different destructions around the earth too, man. So I'm gonna read this article now. You finished with that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I want. So we're gonna get this article. So it says So this is from Mel 1 News, and it says you must leave. Mandatory evacuation of Florida Keys begins as planes and ships told to steer clear, and U.S. Navy bases tell 5,000 personnel to get out of town before the Hurricane Irma hits the U.S. East Coast. Okay, so even the U.S. Navy had to get out of Dodge now. So it says, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said Hurricane Irma is packing winds of 185 miles an hour. Now that's fast. Okay, that's almost 200 miles an hour right there. That's a super fast wind. So if you have a wind that's going that fast, when it lands on land or even in Florida, you can imagine the damage that it's going to cause in that state of Florida. Okay, in any former state that's next to Florida, like Tallahassee, Atlanta, all of these different states. So if this thing is going at that sort of speed, all right, and it's a 5.4 magnitude, man, we're talking about severe damage on that land. We're talking severe damage, a catastrophic sort of event that can kill people, man. Which that we was going into earlier before. The Lord brings death too. See that? And he's going to do it, and he's probably doing it already. So it says the U.S. National Hurricane Center said the Hurricane Irma is packing winds of 185 miles an hour. So just imagine that wind being in the midst of us right now. You know where we be at? Our behinds would be in mid-friggin' air, flying. That's hitting buildings and everything, man. Yeah. And even if you do hold on to it, you're still gonna go fine.
With the post something.
Right, with the post, right. Go on. Yeah, what you want to say? Go.
I don't know if you saw that video. This one stupid ass idiot is, yeah? His vehicle was trying to tip over. And you know what he done? They said he was tipping over.
Yeah, he tried
to hold it. A vehicle, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the damn thing just flipped and just crushed him right there. Boom.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna be?
Like, why you standing there for? You know that thing is way heavier than you are. Just move out the way, man. Yeah, he thought he had got spiritual power. And the Lord showed him something different. So it says, that makes the hurricane, which is the size of France, the most powerful. So they're saying it's the size of France. Flipping that, man. So it says the most high. So I said the most high. It says the most powerful ever recorded in the Atlantic Ocean. It has already hit Barbuda this morning, but is now quickly heading towards the Virgin Islands, and it already hit the Virgin Islands. One woman said she was in a house with all her kids in it, and the whole house just ripped apart. Not even just outside. You see that? So that's the Heavenly Father showing his wrath by the angels too. Okay. So definitely it's gonna start raining heavy. That's why we're in that year. We're in the year of what is it? 2017 is the year of death and diligence, man. I believe.
What's that scripture says? Most I giveth and taketh away.
That's
Job.
First Samuel.
No. Giveth it. I know I ain't with my phone.
Yeah, maybe you can call my phone. But you know, I gotta read this first, brother. You know, he giveth and he taketh. What is that scripture, man?
That's a good scripture. The man going to that room, the house. The Most High gave him a house to take
He
away.
took the whole house, baby.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Maybe she was committing adultery, but that's how he It was a finding up on a rock. That's
That baby mama drama, man. You know what I mean? She was on that baby mama shit, man.
The father wasn't in the house. If the father was in the house, maybe the house was still
It would have been. Yeah, what is that scripture, man? Yeah, he give and he take it. What is that, man?
I think it's Job.
Most I give him.
Yeah, this is not a joke, man. This is not a joke, man. I mean, if you're serious, then we'll show you what this is all about. But this is not a joke. It's serious. You know?
It's a joke.
What's that?
It's a joke.
No, I said this is serious. This is not a joke.
Have you got your phone?
Islam.
Google it in
No, this is Israel. We're the Jews.
This is Islam.
This is not Islam.
What's all about? What's all about?
Like I said, you know, like I said,
Job 1 and 21.
Yeah, just read that.
Job 1 and 21.
Just man up. Just man up. Be a man. Be a man. Be a man. Don't worry about it. Stop being such a fucking...
All right, yeah, have a nice day. Have a nice day. Yeah, have a nice day.
Esau is not. Esau is not.
These guys are irrelevant, man. They're irrelevant.
Guys, man.
They're irrelevant. I mean, they have nothing to do. They're walking around.
That's those
up and
demons,
down the
man.
street,
You can just feel it, man.
and they're not up to no good. So I mean, what are you here? Like, what are you here for?
That guy could be a doctor right now, man. He has some music and them demons just jump on him. Man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just be it. Just be it.
Calling his fellow demons over there. You know what I mean? But that's how you know that this is spiritual.
See, that's not good. Anyway, let's keep the order. It was Job 1, verse 21, and said, no, verse 20. And Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved. In fact, yes. So let me read this. Job 1, verse 19. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, going to what he was talking about, and smote the four corners of the house, of our house.
Right, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened to that woman down there in I believe it was the Virgin Island. That's what happened. You go on.
The house, and it fell upon the young men, or fell upon them, and they are dead. Anyway, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, then she arose, and rent her mantle, and shaved her head, and fell down upon the ground.
You know how she shaved her head? Because she was in a state of mourning.
Yeah. And worshipped and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return hither. Yahweh gave, and Yahweh have taken away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh.
That's right. That's right. So that's the same thing happened. The same thing that happened in the Virgin Islands. That's what happened to Job a couple of thousands of years ago, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what's going on?
No, you're right.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Well,
Did you get any calls or anything?
Well, I do about calls, but imagine then Republic has informed us that you're here. What are you talking about then?
I mean, we just reading the scriptures. We're not inciting no hate or anything like that. We're just reading the Bible. You know what I mean?
No, I've just got to come and speak to you, haven't we? You know.
'Cause, I mean, I've been out here for like a year now. I've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
And stuff like. Well, not. I mean, I haven't been doing this for a year, but I've been over here for a year more than. I've been all over London, so.
This is your stand. What this normally goes into, is it?
Yeah. The 12 tribes of Israel. You know, so this is the whole thing. But yeah, I mean,
What is
do
the
you do
12
then?
tribes of Israel, if you don't mind me asking?
huh?
What is the 12 tribes of Israel, if you
Well,
don't mind me asking?
these are the 12 tribes of Israel. These people understand. They call this is their names right now.
Okay.